Hopefully it adjusts. Yeah, there we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Concert Junkies, Rob and John. Oh yeah.
And we're live, guys.
How's it going?
It's going. Well, most people know I'm Rob, and at the bottom there's another Rob. So you're being Rob today.
Robception.
Yeah, pretty much. And our guest today is Sleeptalker. You want to introduce yourselves?
Sure, I'll go first. My name's Cecil. I play guitars and do composition and Sleeptalker.
And I'm John. I was playing guitars previously, but I switched. I now play bass, whereas we have Anthony to do the second guitar, and I do backup vocals as well as composition.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having us.
So I know it's a question that you've probably already been asked 162 times. Where did you get the name from? Is there any meaning behind it, or is it just?
It's actually really simple. The drummer Eugene, he came to my house a couple of years ago when we were starting to compile, songs, and he was like, "Hey, I got a name. It's Sleeptalker," and we literally didn't have any names. So I was like, "Well, that's really close to Sleep Token, but whatever, that's fine." And then we just went from there.
Oh, so there's no more deep meaning behind it.
As of right now, no. We do have some loosely based, Easter eggs, we'll call it, that we've kind of been writing around. But initially, from the beginning, there wasn't no. We just needed a name, and we had some other ideas, and they didn't stick like this one did. So.
What were the other ideas?
One of my favorites was Goddess Hand. I think that one was just voted out. We have one called Blackout. That one's a little bit too on the nose. It had the A's as V's.
Okay.
Yeah, ideas like that.
That's really cool. The thing I will also say as a music connoisseur, when I thought of Sleeptalker, I also thought of the song Sleep Talk from Dayseeker.
Yeah, we get that a lot too.
Sorry.
It's a good song, so
I guess it's not a bad thing.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Super awesome.
We actually show up finally on YouTube when you look up Sleep Talk or Sleeptalker. We finally show up.
It wasn't really that hard, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed that. I watched the video today, and I was like, "Oh, pretty easy to find." Usually, there's Sleepwalker, Sleepwake, Dreamwake. It's all some of that stuff tends to they get to intermingle. Where are you guys based out
of? We say Florida because I was living in Florida up until about a month ago. But me, the drummer, and the vocalist, we were the core members from a couple of years ago. And we were all in Florida, St. Pete, Tampa area. And then I moved out to Nashville. John's out in South Carolina. The other guitar player's out in Cincinnati.
That kind of puts together a couple of things that I want to ask a little down later in the interview, because you Cincinnati, Ohio, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there will be a couple of questions that I want to ask down later in the interview based around that, because I did a little typical I won't say journalist, but journalists check out where you're from, a little info, what I can find, bio, because that's a big industry thing. What's your bio?
That is
that.
That's a very big thing. If you don't have an EPK, I'm saying this 162 times, you don't have an EPK or any information except for we come from hell, you're going to be kind of bypassed. Even booking wise.
Yeah, I believe that.
Well, okay, here's my link tree, but it doesn't have, what do you call it, anything.
Right.
Except for
doesn't go anywhere.
Here's my Bandcamp. Here's, you've all seen that meme if you haven't played five gigs, don't talk to me.
Yeah, I've seen that circulate before.
It's pretty much the same thing with. You need an EPK. Press kit is very important.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rob, for sharing that, because now that convicts me to rewrite everything I'm doing. I got to do.
Well,
but
I mean,
no, thank you. But seriously, thank you, because that's like, honestly, like doing an interview and sharing some knowledge for the public who sees this. You know, the more you can share, you know, not only maybe help us out, but also help anybody that's listening get our, you know, ish together so we can be better about presenting our art. That helps us. So thank you.
because honestly, most promoters, most everybody, that's what they look at. And the numbers.
Yeah.
They're going to ask anybody that's booking Linktree.
True. So, where are you guys from?
I am from New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
What part of New Jersey? I actually don't fully remember.
I'm Central Jersey. I'm like 15 minutes away from Starland Ballroom.
Oh, okay.
Well, like maybe 20 to 40 minutes away from PNC Arts Center.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm currently in like outside of Greensboro, North Carolina.
Oh, okay. You're not far from me then.
Yeah, because you mentioned that you coming up that way. Because I know, like you said, South Carolina. Are you like Columbia? If you don't mind me asking.
Oh, not that far. I'm actually in we'll call it Spartanburg.
Oh, Ground Zero then is right around there.
Yeah,
for
Ground
you then.
Zero.
Yeah, okay, Spartanburg.
Yep. So
yeah, I've been to Ground Zero a couple of times. But yeah, I mean, you know, that's actually not too bad. That's like 3 hours.
yeah, it's literally like 3 hours. Yeah.
So you being that this is your debut single, and you've already mentioned that multiple members are everywhere, like what's your future like with shows? Like what's potentially playing shows, and being that Rob mentioned gigs.
So right now the idea is Nashville, Tennessee area is probably going to be like our headquarters. Since only 2 of the members are in Florida, they'll just fly in. We do have gear and stuff stored away, and kind of like a mini headquarters out in Ohio right now, with who we do our recording and video stuff with currently. They're called Unhinged Studios. They just opened. But yeah, we work with them for all of our media stuff. So videos, playthroughs. They even kind of act as like interim manager. But we're just good friends with them, and we did a package with them where we get, you know, a couple videos and a lot of things that help you in between just playing music or just putting out music. But that includes like procuring gear for us, and then even a little bit of booking. So with shows, we're just going to, you know, all travel. Either we're all familiar with traveling. John travels for work. I don't as often, but you know, we'll just fly in with maybe our guitars or store our guitars if we know we're going to have a show coming up. So we have a couple potential ones planned towards the end of the year that we're trying to solidify. So we're working on getting tight on those. But I mean, we'll just have to make it work. So.
Totally. And you actually kind of got led into the question I wanted to ask a little down the road is about the whole Cincinnati, Ohio connection. I did see, and by the way, thank you so much for putting the credits of who you worked with in the video.
Always.
I cannot tell you, like, for every dollar I could see one, I wouldn't have to pay for recording time. Like, I've literally seen so many of my friends that are musicians. If this is you, I'm sorry if anyone who sees this. They might credit the videographer, but they don't credit who they do the mixing and mastering with. And maybe it's a lot of no's for me because I do mix and master and I write my own music, which maybe that's a little too biased, but it's like, I would want to know who mixed it. I would want to know, you know, like the song more or less. And even so, like if you're an artist that does it yourself, then the way to potentially get clientele and fund your band is, oh, the guitar player of the band mixed the music.
Yep.
If you go to him, you can get it mixed and mastered, and that money could be potentially funding your project. So I was going to get into the whole aspect of like the Cincinnati, Ohio connection that I saw. And I guess I wanted to ask one aside from that is the sound and the sonics of the song, at least. I know it's just one song, so it might be a little too early to judge, but I feel like there's a connection with the Ohio and the sound, because like I got like Attack, electronic, like, you know, there was a big boom in the late 2000s with like that kind of sound in that area, like Dayton, Ohio specifically. And I thought about like the whole electronic and metalcore. It's like, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Scooter, who was mentioned in the credits, he produced, mixed, and mastered everything. He's in Cleveland. The guitar player, actually forgot to mention, he lived in Florida when I met him years ago, but he's lived in Ohio for a few years now. And the Unhinged Studios is also out of Cleveland, Ohio. So close enough. But they all have some connection to either people in Attack. Dark Island recorded with Scooter as well. If you're familiar with their vocalist, he plays in Attack as well.
Yeah.
So there is definitely some overlap there. So it's kind of funny you're able to kind of pin that down. As far as like the core of the song, that was back when I was doing like most of the writing, so that was just whatever I had in my head. So I'm not really sure. Obviously I'm wearing an Events t-shirt.
Sick.
But I mean, we've all listened to, for us, what it sounded like is something like maybe older North Lane, maybe some like Era, and maybe like Invent Animate. It's always kind of hard to compare yourself because it's still kind of like look up to those bands. So it's kind of hard to put yourself in the same scale. But Scooter really, really, really helps. One of his packages is he has a full production from start to finish, help you fill in the gaps. Hey, we need something here. So the person that designed our shirts and our logo and pretty much every image thing that you've seen, her name's Bev Knapp on Instagram. She also plays piano. She's an insane musician. Like she can play all the Final Fantasy stuff, like crazy orchestral level stuff. So she does a lot of the synth stuff as well. But between her and Scooter, who is based out of Ohio, you hit the nail on the head. He's kind of just guiding the ship on where he wanted her to go on some of these parts to fill in, especially for the chorus, where there's a lot of like arpeggiating synths and stuff like that. So I feel like it really filled in where we were missing some punch in the chorus and in the bridge.
Yeah, because I did notice that. I mean, obviously, like being a musician, it's hard to, and I kind of relate, like you look up to them and you also don't want to be like on the nose with it to where someone's like, oh, it sounds like you're copying them. That's always like a fear for musicians, I feel. But I was just something I noticed probably because, again, I love metalcore and I come from like a metalcore ride or die kind of thing. So for me, it's like
Nice.
when I hear something, most cases in the metalcore genre, I can kind of connect the dots. Me personally, it was to me a band called Imminence. They had a record called Turn the Light On, and the song Paralyzed, like because there's like some hidden piano like you just mentioned in there, it made me think of that. And then a band from about a decade ago called A Feast for Kings. So I don't know, like just listening, those were like the two bands that I thought of. A local band that broke up, they turned into a rock band and lasted a record, but they were called A Feast for Kings from, I believe, the Kentucky area, but they were a band in like 2013, 2014. And I was like, those two connections, but it sounded really good. I really enjoyed it. I played it like 5 times. I was just kind of getting a vibe for
Well, that means a lot. We've heard it a
Yeah.
million times at this point, so we're like, is this a good song anymore?
I
Like,
mean,
you hear
it
the
seems
new
like
stuff, and it's hard to even go back to that. So
yeah, and it's the thing is about it is like you're doing something because like I was saying earlier that before we started the stream, like I have the Spotify literally right in front of me, and you're at 17,000 streams and almost 5,000 monthly listeners, which is amazing on a first
record.
first
We
single.
literally can't believe it.
Yeah.
We look at it every day and we're like, what? Okay.
And that's
awesome.
amazing, because the thing is, like, I also followed Near Fury Media, and
yep.
I don't know who does the writing for them now, but I did see that an article was posted about it. Like, I mean, whoa, they're doing like 2,000 in a week and monthly listeners. I'm like, wow, something's happening. Like, it might be that EPK. If you want to get those numbers, get an EPK.
Yeah, well, shout out to the vocalist, Jamar. He handled like 99% of all social media presence. We have kind of like side jobs in our band. So it's not just about like, hey, show up and play drums or show up and sing. It's like, hey, you got to have something else that you're doing to help us kind of help the trajectory. And obviously we're coming from nothing, and he really dove into that. So shout out to him, because he made a lot of that happen.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That's amazing.
So with your permission, do you want me to play the new song?
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Oh man, this is probably like the 100th time I've gotten to see this.
It's all, I think you'll live.
I would hope so.
Sick.
So where was that located? Where was that located at?
That was
done in Florida, in St. Petersburg. Yeah.
Yep.
So since it's not ever really mentioned, Who was the lovely lady that was in the video?
That is Bevnap. That
Yep.
is the yep, the one that's playing synths and keyboard stuff. A lot of the ambient layers, and the designer. So that's her.
Because that's another thing that I've realized that most people don't mention who's in the video.
Yeah, like all the extras. Yeah, that's true.
You don't have to have like, a list on list on list.
Yeah.
Coming attractions, but
Yeah. But like people that are focal points of the music videos
Yeah.
that aren't the band members. Yeah, I get you.
like when they're on screen more than
Then
2
the band.
seconds.
Yeah.
Super sick.
So I'm gonna ask you a deep question, then we get into some fun ones here.
Okay.
Who's your role model?
Like is in terms of like influences, like an influential band or an influential like figure
Yeah.
in the music industry.
It doesn't even have to be music.
Oh, like just personally in general. That's a tough question. I don't think I've ever actually been asked that in the
Yeah, I gotta
last
think about that.
10 or 15 years. Like the last time somebody asked me that question, I was probably like 14.
Oh, man.
Would it be easier if I went first? I'll give you mine.
Sure, go for it. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Myself in 10 years.
Oh, that's a
good answer.
Yeah, true.
I might have to borrow that one for
That's
job interview down the line or something.
That's kind of
Right.
That's kind of.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's pretty smooth.
Wild. Huh. Yeah, that's probably that's got to be one of the most intelligent answers I think I've ever heard.
That's awesome.
I think I have one.
Okay.
It's in the relation to music because it's all in my mind right now. I would say Misha Mansour. I'm playing his guitar in the video. I've learned a lot of just recording my own stuff, at least to the pre-production level that I'm happy with, to even be able to make it make sense in the studio when it comes time to actually do it. Also, he's one of my favorite composers for orchestral stuff as well. So I'd probably say him.
Keeping it in the music realm, since somebody came in with a hella good answer already. Probably like looking back on it now, I'm between two people. Well, actually, no, one in particular because I follow him still. Caleb Shomo from Attack Attack. So back in the day, they had Attack Attack. It come up on 2012, 2013. They did their last album, which watched an interview, funnily enough, on that. Apparently, a lot of those songs were throwaway songs because they were just trying to get their contract done, which is wild because some of those songs are actually really good for the time. That said, he struggled heavily with addiction and things like that, alcoholism. And then moving out of that environment with the band, he was able to get the help that he needed, persevered, started a new project, which is called Beartooth. And that has done incredibly well. The dude looks totally different now. Like, dude is absolutely ripped. He's probably one of the most genuine people I've ever seen in interviews, meet and greets, touring with other people. Super helpful, really inspiring. Just great guy.
I think I have one more potentially,
Yeah, let's hear it.
if that's allowed. All right, so Rod Sudani from Volumes. I've been a Volumes fan since 2011. I've seen them probably like 25 times. I was pretty cool with Diego. Obviously, he tragically passed a few years ago, and when that happened, I already knew Rod a little bit, but we really got closer, and he's been helpful anytime I have any questions because he's kind of taken over the main producer besides Dan Bronstein out there. And then outside of music, he was always a little bit overweight, but he's completely flipped that on its head. He's in law school right now. I think he's trying to get law school done in like half the amount of time or something crazy while they're still recording music. So he's been super cool to me over the years, kind of like a big brother. So I give him a shout out as well.
That's
let's
really
go with
cool.
So let's go with the fun question here.
All right.
If you could be any type of cereal, what cereal would you be?
Mm.
I'm a Raisin Bran man. I'm just loaded full of the good stuff, not a whole lot of the bad stuff. Pretty bland, but it serves its purpose.
Strawberry mini wheats.
Oh, dang it.
Strawberry frosted mini wheats. Yeah.
Forgot those were a thing.
Yeah. So
What else you got?
Rob, what's your answer?
I feel like not that I don't really eat cereal anymore, but I think the Reese's Puffs cereal, I feel like that speaks to me. Something about my
Solid.
90s.
Really? It speaks to you? You sure it's not because of the theme song or anything? It couldn't be because of that.
Maybe.
do I even remember the thing?
Bro,
Reese's
how could
Puffs,
you not?
Reese's Puffs, peanut butter Puffs, Reese's Puffs, peanut butter chocolate flavor.
Dude, that thing,
Dude, how do I not remember that?
that's crazy. That thing used to be overplayed. It's like songs on
Of
the
all
radio
the
that
music
you're
that's
just like,
stuck in my head, I don't know how I don't know.
It's because you're
Solid
writing
answer,
and
though.
you're writing and composing so much music, it all blends together. Someone might have used that jingle for a pop
Probably.
top 40 song by now.
probably.
Yeah, the four chord progression.
Yeah, I would imagine that being like somebody that's a songwriter might have wrote that jingle for them or something.
Oh yeah, 100%. IP is like super popular when it comes to making money, especially on the music side. It's not just like when you talk about intellectual property, it's how can I sell this, but also continuously make money off of it. So if you think like, oh, a program's going to pay me $5,000 for every episode that this song is in, versus I could put it up and make pennies on the dollar on streams. Yeah.
That's the world I want to get into. 'Cause I like songwriting and like creating music more than like being in a band, and kind of. So I've been like, I want to take my music and make it like for YouTube video games. Because I'm writing some new music, kind of like Mick Gordon style, that Doom soundtrack style, with a little bit that I really want to kind of go towards that route. So that's really cool that you know about. Like, I know that like I listened to an interview with what's this guy's name? Dope, Edsel Dope. And he does the Project Dope, which is like a 90s band. And if you know anything about him, he's like involved with Static X, one of those like 90s new metal bands.
Static X sounds familiar.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, they're big in the new metal world. So like Edsel Dope is like managing this band called Static X. And like he talked about how he's a producer and like he came from the world, as he called it, like faceless music. It's like he called it, created jingles for all kinds of different people. And we lost Cecil.
Dang, might have been a connection issue.
Yeah, it happens.
And you're back.
Whoa,
there he goes.
Sorry about that. My phone was just like, yeah, you're not using the internet. We're just gonna disconnect you. So.
Rob, what you said about video games and everything. I just want to be on somebody's backing track. I just want to be featured somewhere.
I've told you, Rob. I'm working on that.
So funny enough that you had mentioned something earlier about how you mix and master and stuff like that. So I do the same thing. I've been upping my game, learning from obviously when we spent time with Scooter recording this new EP. That's actually going to be released over the next 6 months or so. So you guys will get new music
nice
pretty soon with a bunch of other content as well. While there, it wasn't just let me sit down and play my parts and then have you do all the work. I really enjoy the process of mixing, mastering, editing, and all that stuff, as well as the songwriting process. And so anytime I had a question, like whether it be how the program worked, how certain plugins interact with certain things, how sound works, etc., how I can edit faster, better ways to do stuff like that, best practices. That's what I was there for. I was writing it down, I was putting it in my phone, I was taking a video, whatever. That being said, I also contributed, which I gave. Sorry, let me back up. I had a song on deck that I was like, okay, and it was from like 4 or 5 years ago. And I was like, hey guys, I know we're struggling to figure out what the third song in the EP is going to be. How about we use this one? And they all heard it and they were like, yeah, we're just going to throw away our third idea for now. We're just going to set that off to the side and we're just going to use this. So then when we got there, we filled in all the gaps on that with some of the stuff, to make it more Sleeptalker and less just John. So I do ghostwriting, all that stuff. Ghostwriting, mixing, mastering, editing, vocal coaching as well. I have a background in choir and vocals the last 14 years or so. So yeah, just want to kind of throw that out there. More music on the way. And I've actually been able to contribute more as a writing member this go around as LSD, we'll call it, Lakeside Dreams. Was already pretty much finished when I got here. I just kind of tossed some sauce on it, gave them the motivation to finish writing it. And then they took it to Scooter and did all the cool stuff.
That's sick. Real quick, I don't know if we mentioned earlier, but what are y'all's roles in the band? I think just in case someone didn't hear it or I didn't hear it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I play guitar. Composition is probably the easiest way to wrap up the other stuff. I normally, at least for most of the songs that are done right now, that we have, I normally just start by sitting in my room, come up with a demo, and then I'll write drums to it and stuff like that as well. And then normally it gets kind of, manipulated into another song, whether it's just that song finished, or maybe somebody takes the idea and turns it into a whole different thing. Other than the pretty much the full song that John provided us when he joined us this time around.
And then so I play initially I was contributing from a guitar standpoint because that's what we obviously needed at the time, as well as composition, etc. And then I transitioned recently to bass because I don't know if you guys have, I'm assuming you guys have both been in bands at some point. It's really hard to find a drummer and it's really hard to find a bass player. Those are two things that are hard to find.
I'll be honest, never in a band whatsoever.
Oh, well,
I'm
sure
I'm always in a band. I'm always
nice.
trying to do music. Well, that's funny you say that. Go ahead.
So then firsthand that both of those things are true. And if you haven't heard it, now you have.
And good ones.
And it's interesting you say that. It's interesting you say that because drummers, I believe it. I mean, here there's a meme in North Carolina. It's like where every band shares 3 drummers.
Dude,
I was Florida too. I know so many people that are in. I used to play drums as well for like 7 or 8 years. That was like my main instrument, and I was in so many, whether it was like a jazz band or a cover band or some metal project or something. I was always like lugging my drums around everywhere and making no money. So,
it's crazy.
You see the memes that stop singing, we need drummers, and
yeah, it's true.
I mean, I believe it. Like, that's the first thing that everybody's looking for.
I think those 2 roles can make or break you too.
Yeah.
If you don't have a good drummer, you forget about it.
It's funny you say that because, like you mentioned earlier about Sleeptalker, it's like the band is literally based around the vocalist who writes everything and the drummer. Like, it's them 2 credited on all the music because it literally comes down to them 2. Everybody else is whatever.
Yeah.
And the proof's in the pudding. Look how good how big that band is. Good could be subjective, but and you mentioned about basses. I have 2 basses over there, the distance, but
okay.
Well, are you selling one?
Am I selling one? Or
yeah.
What do you mean with it? Well, actually, I kind of
As
am,
we,
but
we might know somebody in the market for a bass,
I
capable
mean,
bass.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
or a bassist. Wink, wink,
Well,
nudge,
we have a
nudge.
bassist,
Yeah,
but when I need, some another bass.
Yeah, one
gotcha.
other
But
one.
I say that jokingly because like there's been a few projects that asked me to play bass, and I'm like, you could do one of two things. You could either backtrack it, or you could just switch from guitar to bass. Because technically, I started playing guitar, and then I got better at bass. So I did bass in high school. I like a jazz instrumental. So
Oh,
like
okay.
I actually got good at bass, and then I got
See,
bad at bass. Go ahead.
well, that's what I was gonna say. Is that's the key point there. Is like any guitarist can pick up a bass and be like, all right, I'm just gonna follow you. There's a difference between a guitarist that's a bass player and a real bass player. I feel like a real bass player brings the sauce when it comes to grooves, songs, and a
Oh
certain
yeah.
thickness.
Oh yeah, because like I think in the right style and the right sound, it's very like stylistic. Like for example, like I grew up on Corn, and
Ah,
would you say Fieldy's an amazing bass player? No, but no one sounds like him.
true.
I mean,
That
I
is
think he's
true.
good, but I also think doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion. But
That's
I've
fair.
seen him, so I think like he's done stuff. He's not changing like reinventing the wheel what he does because he just picked off a Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay.
I wouldn't
That's
go like.
but you've interviewed Fieldy, so but like a lot of people like that he even said in his early years that that's what the slap is why it's from Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers where he got that from. Like regardless if it sounds like it, I mean he just transposed it to what Korn does, so it just fits it.
Then it's a big melting pot because he's been playing for years and
As long as I've been alive. And I think what happens is like, we have to think about how revolutionary that bass player was for what they were doing, because how easy is it now, like you said, follow the low tune. Like back then, getting a solid drop A low tune 7-string sound in 94 was virtually impossible. It was just super muddy and like it was like even the recordings, they sound dated because it's hard to get sonically how that fits. But then you have this slap bass player and it cuts through the mix, giving you a distinct character, regardless if you're able to traverse the neck with you're playing. His bass playing was like so unique, and so I'm with you on that, because for me, like I'm like in the middle now. Like I like to traverse the neck and do things bass wise, but I also know like as also being in the genre, right? It's some bands don't leave room. Like it's not like we're Plenty. I'm not Jacob Omansky, So
True.
but yeah, I mean bass players, drums, I need to just get back on the kit. I played like rock drums a decade ago, and I was like, I really just was in metalcore, so I can't just do dun, 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 like the whole time and a metal band.
I mean, the basic knowledge I have is from Rock Band. That's about it.
Hey, I mean that's more than most people.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, like, give me colors, give me whatever. I'll kick your ass, but on stage, hell no. I mean, stage wise, give me a keyboard, something. I'll be in the back, just there.
He plays a mean cowbell, and that's what
counts.
Yeah.
That's what counts.
That's what
exactly.
They were talking about instruments. You guys mentioned your role models, but what would be what made you want to become the instrumentalist you are, and who influences your writing? They could be the same person or different.
Oh,
I got a couple. I think first probably would have been like Billy Joe Armstrong, just because that's how I realized that like electric guitar existed. I didn't know.
That's it.
I'm pretty racially ambiguous, but both my parents are black. I'm just light. and we're not listening to Green Day. So it was like one of my friends that showed me it. Um, my dad down the line, actually, he became like Volume's biggest fan, which is super funny. But
That's awesome. That's
like
awesome.
he's like their biggest fan. It's crazy. But one of my friends showed me Green Day, and I was like, "Whoa, what? How does that guitar like? What is he doing?"
Okay, speaking of them showing you Green Day, what album?
It was Dookie.
That makes okay.
Yeah, it was Dookie.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
So I'm 30.
It makes a big goddamn difference on if it was Dookie or after Dookie, because my feeling it kind of went a little downhill from there.
So American Idiot, the album was actually that's how I learned how to play guitar because my sister ended up getting they ended up getting into like I guess rock music. I'm not sure what you'd call that alternative. And
It's
so
more
one of her
punk,
friends
I
gave her American Idiot, and then so I was just learning how to read tabs. Somebody showed me that, and I thought it was magic. And then I played all those songs front to
Same.
back, and then somebody showed my dad Linkin Park.
Ooh, ooh.
So then that's when I started getting that like screams were in music, and then from there, Avenged Sevenfold's probably still my favorite band like ever. Um, Sinister Gates is for on lead standpoint, it's like somebody that I've followed forever. But in terms of writing today, probably lean more towards um, I think Mike Stringer and Spirit Box. He doesn't really do anything too insane, um, but it just feels like his parts always fit really well. And I don't know, I always remember them somehow. And then um, for a while, Mark Akubu from
Uh,
Veil of Maya, the old Veil of Maya stuff, like
mm.
Common Man's Collapse, Id, and Eclipse, especially. I tried to beat him for years. So I think I listed like three or four, but I'm sure there's a million more.
You just named a bunch of bands that just speak to my heart because like Vela Maya cannot play anywhere near like that, not like 1%. But I've always been a fan of Vela Maya. Like when I was doing a metalcore band, I was like, "Can you play Resistance?" The guitar player, and when he did, I was
That's
like,
my
"This is the
favorite
best
song by
thing
them,
ever."
funny enough. So that and
Resistance,
Mark the
yeah.
Lines.
Oh man, anything like Eclipse and back is just legendary.
Yeah.
However, do like the new stuff because I am a sucker for singing.
Oh yeah.
And
I
Mark
think
is
they needed
super.
it.
Yeah, they need to do something different. And being that we're also talking about volumes, it's funny that you say that about Diego. 2011, I played Thrash and Burn tour, and one person who was walking around back then. I wish I could go back to that version of Robert and talk to him and be like, hey, don't bother him. But I was like trying to be that kid, being like, would you check out my band? And I had a burned CD of our demos, and he put
Oh
it in
no.
his pocket. I was that kid, but I was like, he was so nice. He actually did back when CDs were a thing. I didn't have like an EPK or anything like that. I just had a burned CD of our demo, and I sent it, and he actually did listen to one song. And he was like, you guys, you're doing something, and just went back to doing his thing. But it was really cool because Diego was just kind of watching the bands, and it blew my mind seeing him play that one venue to like 50 people on their Via release tour, and then they did that tour, and there was 300 people, almost sold out at when
Oh
they
yeah.
played the time. And I was like, yeah,
I've
and I mean this within a month of each other. I was
I
so
saw them
blown
at a
away with
Chelsea
that.
Grin show with Oceano, I think. Maybe it was.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. One of my friends, his sister started getting into like heavier music. So he had to go chaperone. He's like, yo, my dad bought one too many tickets. Do you want to go? And somebody showed me volumes, the concept of dreaming stuff. And I was like, I think I've heard this band before. And then there might have been 50 volumes fans there, but when Wormholes came on, everyone started jumping. And I was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then everyone was super nice to me. And
It's so
then
crazy.
from then on, I just was like, every time this band comes to Florida, I'm gonna see them. So that's when I thought they'd get tired of seeing me, but they've been nice to me every time. So I don't know, Via for me and No Sleep till this day are like just iconic. I just wish I could go back in time and like experience that stuff for the first time. So
That's so sick. It kind of blew me away because like a couple of days prior they had Hatebreed there, and they had a barricade still up, and then they played, and then the crowd broke the barricade, and I'm like, they didn't
yeah,
break it during.
I'm not the biggest fan of barricades. I think they take you out of it so much. I get why they
Well,
have them, but dang,
well, I mean,
like it.
for a hardcore band, like it makes sense, which is why they had it up, and they just never took it down from Hatebreed. I mean, it's
Mhm.
Hatebreed. No one saves during Hatebreed, but it survived Hatebreed. But
No,
that
nobody's
that. Go ahead.
nobody's safe from Hatebreed. Nobody's safe for fucking Slipknot. It's not. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, I know. Oh yeah, no.
yeah, like
Honestly, when I saw Korn, I was kind of scared, and I don't get scared with mosh pits much. But it was a festival, and I just remember when the opening riff for "Here to Stay" happened, and even my friends were just like, "Move!" I got hit so hard, and it just got sucked into a circle pit. It was insane. There were 4 circle pits for Korn, but it was so heavy. So like, I've seen Slipknot once, and yeah, I agree to that. But that Korn concert was so scary because I think I had like at least 50 bodies drop on my neck from so much
Jeez.
crowd surfing.
Jesus.
But good times. I guess like, how does that do? Those same people that like got you into doing music, do they influence your writing with Sleeptalker?
I think so. I feel like I don't. I feel like I'm not very conscious of it when I'm like just trying to come up with something. Um, I've played in a lot of, like bands that just never turned into anything. This is my real like first like official effort like that. And so I've kind of already gone through a lot of the bad things where you're basically just copying what you hear. There's a carbon copy because that works. And for this, I'm really trying to. I always tell people I'm like the easiest guitar player to work with because I don't try to take up a lot of space, even though I'm primarily a lead player. In this, I'm more of a just whatever fits. So if there's a lead that needs to go there, then you know, I'll gladly put one there. But I'm not trying to just stack it, as high as it can go with all kind of leads and harmonies and arpeggios everywhere. It's just where can I kind of make the song better? And I feel like the older every band got or every guitar player that influenced me, they kind of leaned in that direction. And at first, it was kind of shocking because, for example, Mark, um, he's not playing as crazy as stuff anymore as like Common Man's Collapse, but now he has room for a singer to actually sing. And I think that stuff's important if you want to actually last and make better songs. I
Yeah.
think the other stuff is like way more impressive, but as a song, it doesn't really hit the same way. So I'm not too sure. I mean, I still listen to them to this day. I'm one of those people that it's really hard for me to listen to new stuff because I'm like, yeah, but I could just like listen to this album again and I already know I like it, So
It's true.
Sick. I'm about to change
Um,
my headphones out real quick just to let y'all know. So
Oh, you're good. Um, it's funny, actually, that you mentioned Green Day a little bit ago, because I'm gonna run through mine pretty quick. Because I wouldn't say there's a lot of them. No, that's not true. There is a lot. Um, for me, let's see, music for me. So a long time ago, I bust out the CD case in the entertainment center in the living room. I'm flipping through, and I go, "Oh, what's this? This disc, right? A bunch of track names on it. It's silver on the front. It says Guns N' Roses. I think I was like 8
Oh
or
man.
9.
Oh wow.
It was Appetite for Destruction. My dad had the one. And I was like, okay, so obviously I get my clunky CD player, right? And I pop that sucker open. I put the shitty little headphones on, you know, the ones that are like $6 now. You just
Yeah.
barely fit on your ears. And I'm like, all right, cool. I pop it in there, close the lid, hit play. First track that comes on. Why does everybody know them now? It was I forget what the first track on that was, but if I had to guess, the ones that are most memorable for me are Paradise City, Welcome to the Jungle, and Sweet Child of Mine. Those 3 songs right there, and it just took off. I couldn't name you any of the songs off of this album, which is kind of a shame. But Van Halen, the Balance album, that was in there too. So kind of went through that. Three Doors Down, that was in there too. Let's see. American Idiot was not in there. I actually found that on my dad's laptop, I think a year later. Didn't know that existed. That was impressive to me, specifically the single and a few other songs that came along with that. But then I reversed and found some of their older stuff, and I was like, wow, this is even better. Blink 182 was a big one for me, especially their earlier stuff. And then transitioning out of that, I listened to that stuff for a few years, didn't really go a whole lot in any direction, finding anything new. And then Breaking Benjamin, I know that was in there as well. That was a big one for me. Diary
Which
of
album
Jane.
though? Do you remember?
I forget which one Diary of Jane came on, unless that was
Phobia.
Phobia. Yep, bingo. You got it. And then I started finding their other stuff. Then I had a neighbor when I think I was 12. Might have been. Yeah, I think I was 12 at the time. I'd just gotten my first guitar. I'd started learning a bunch of stuff. I think about 6 months after that, my neighbor played bass in a death metal band. And he was like, check out. Oh, no. Right before that, it was either Black Sabbath or just Ozzy himself. Specifically Crazy Train, that kind of took a turn.
Okay.
Whatever. Anyway, bunch of pop music in there, here and
Guitar
there.
Center
Rap
Classic.
music. There you go, Guitar Center Classic, exactly. And then my neighbor was like, "Hey, check out Lamb of God," right? And I had just gotten into Bullet for My Valentine, Avenged Sevenfold, etc. And he was like, "Check out Lamb of God," and I was like, "Okay, sure." Right? I'm 13 at the time. First song that I was introduced to was Omerta. I forget the name of the album, unless it was it was Now You've Got Something to Die For. It was that album. I'm pretty positive that was the album name. Listen to that whole album front and back. The drums on that were wild. Lead player, wild. Just the regular riffs, wild. And that's what started moving me past like the threshold into like death metal, metalcore, deathcore, that sort of thing. I jumped over the edge when I found Chelsea Grin. I think I was 14. That's when it started getting pretty heavy, at least for me at the time, because that was like the new thing, right? 7 strings. Let's just, drop A, drop G, whatever. And people were like, "This is just noise." And I'm like, "It's really not, though. It's awesome." Then coming out of that phase, I started hitting bands like Jamie's Elsewhere, Of Mice and Men, Attack Attack. I started getting into all of that, and it just never stopped. Memphis Mayfire was a big one for me that got me into recording, editing, and production, because when the Challenger album came out, I heard that snare, and I was like, this is the snare that I want on everything I listen to. Which obviously I understand now that that's not applicable, but man, that entire album, front to back, was absolutely killer. Production, writing, everything was just phenomenal to me. And then their live performances were great as well. But that took me into the metalcore thing. Oh, and A Day to Remember was a huge influence for me, like all the way from day one to where they're at now. Now it's gonna, like, they're leaning on that like pop rock like bridge for me. I think they just came out with something that's tipping the scales back to heavy, but um, yeah, vocalists for me that were influential. Um, what was dude's name? I always forget the vocalist's name for Alter Bridge. The what became the three.
Miles Kennedy.
Yeah, Miles Kennedy. That he was great. And then Jeremy McKinnon from A Day to Remember, huge influence in vocals. And then a bunch of the metalcore singers that I wish I could sing like, but I absolutely can't because I don't have the range. Specifically, oh god, I just had his name. Justin Kyle from Jamie's Elsewhere, big one. And then
Aaron, it's Aaron Pauley.
Aaron Pauley was the first, and then now he's there now. Justin Kyle was the fill-in for the album they did in 2014.
Okay, yeah, because like it's so interesting because you mentioned like Jamie's Elsewhere and Of Mice and Men, and I remember that record. It's always a storm that the one that's got like those like this ocean. That's I'm gonna kick myself. That's my favorite record from
Giants
James
Among
Elsewhere.
Common Men.
They said the storm is coming.
Yeah, they said the storm.
They said the storm was coming.
And then the biggest song they had off that album, I think, was Giants Among Common Men.
Yeah, they said the storm was coming. Yeah, that record is such. That's literally a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah,
all day.
And then I would say Matty Mullins is another big.
And you mentioned Challenger was like the record.
Yes, absolutely. When I was getting into
metalcore, that album.
100%. Yep, that was the album when I started getting into metalcore. And then 2014? I think it came out. It might have been 15 or.
Challenger. I thought it was 12.
Actually, you're right.
We're doing 12. All this research.
It was 2012. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, when that
it's hit, a weird feeling when you live through. Yeah, when you live through that. Yeah, wow, 12 years.
I know, right? But yeah, when that hit, I was absolutely blown away.
Because that sounds like the album that, like, to me, you're leading up to where you are now. That sounds like the album that's like, I'm gonna do what I'm doing now. That album.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was it for me. I was like, I've got to learn how to play guitar like these dudes. I've got to learn how to write songs like this because they just. Like they induce movement within the body that's not like I want to murder everything constantly. So it's not like Hatebreed or Chelsea Grin, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
It just hits.
It super does. And then it's normally super emotional too. It's really connective. I will say, as far as on the hardcore side of things, Attila was a huge influence for me as well, as far as like my riffs now.
Yeah, those guys write pretty good music.
Yep.
So what would you say is a record you would say like that's what made you want to do you're doing what you're doing today because of this record or this band?
I think in the way that we're doing it, like because a lot of it, is written at home, which isn't super novel, now, but at the time, Periphery really got me into, also for one, being able to just blend heavier stuff with singing, not just the screaming verse, singing chorus, and something that I'm always like trying to, get us to implement. Which we'll just have to see if that happens or not in the future stuff. But I think when I started listening to like Periphery 2, I think that's when I realized like, okay, this band is doing whatever they want. Yeah, obviously it's heavy most of the time, but there's times where it kind of sounds like a pop song and it's still cool. That's when I think for me that was like, okay, I think I want to try like being in some type of metal band. Avenged Sevenfold had a huge influence on my guitar playing as a whole, but that was just, I was playing in my room. I didn't really have like the idea that I'd be playing that with anybody. I just thought I was going to try to get better at guitar. I think Periphery, and then for 7-string stuff in particular was Deftones, the Diamond Eyes album, like realizing that was a guitar being like, what the hell? Like, this sounds so much more heavy than what I'm used to. What is this? My dad actually randomly bought that album. He's a truck driver, and he has XM radio, so I guess it played on either Octane or Liquid Metal or something. And he kept like singing a song, and I'm like, that sounds like Deftones, but I don't know what that is because I only heard their stuff on the radio at that point. And he he bought that, and then he bought me a System of a Down Hypnotize album. So
Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
yep. Before that, I was playing mainly like, open mics or in bands, cover bands. Played way too many Alice in Chains songs, like in a good way, but just a lot of that Foo Fighters, Green Day, Nirvana, stuff like that. And then I played in a lot of like gospel, a lot of gospel music and Christian rock music. So I was playing in churches a lot back then. That was like the only gig I could get at the time. So especially when I was playing drums, though I was playing drums, it really helped my ear um, for like weird changes. I don't know like the craziest amount of music theory, but I know enough to make things make sense for myself, and that really, really, really challenged my ear a lot. So
Can you play by ear or no?
yeah, I learned primarily by ear. I did play in band, saxophone and French horn. That was in like middle school and ninth grade. So I
Can
can't even read like a staff anymore, but I
Can you
learned
still
most things by ear.
can you still play those instruments?
I think I'm gonna buy an alto or a tenor sax and like learn again. I still remember some of the positions, but or whatever you would call that on a saxophone. But it's been so long, I would have to like retrain myself to use a reed and all of that again. But these days, if I do any orchestral stuff, I just write it with Spitfire or uh, orchestral tool stuff. So
I mean, I think that'd be cool. And your next song, you have a saxophone or something else on it.
I mean, that's something we've kind of like tossed around here and there.
mhm.
Electric
Yeah.
violin, something.
You got some
don't see
acoustic
too-
violins for sure.
I know. I'm just
but,
saying, you don't see that much these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you do, you don't see them ever on when they play the song without it when they're on tour.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
I understand why you don't want to pay the extra person.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, I mean, just for one song to have that person on board for
It's
one
so-
song a night.
I know, but I'm just saying it would be freaking cool to see live.
Oh, yeah.
I give Bill Murray. Now we're talking about the whole Ohio connection, like another person. Yeah, because it's amazing. The story of like Johnny Frank leaving Attack down doing Bill Murray, and he has a saxophone player the
yeah.
whole show. It's so amazing. And she like all the melody lines, like the hooky melody guitar lines. It's a sax. Like she'll sing certain parts and then just play saxophones over those guitar parts. It's like that's amazing.
Yeah.
If you got some funny questions, Rob, go ahead because I got a couple fun ones I think would be fun to do.
I don't think I've asked this question in a minute because it's not really. I mean, I said earlier it's not. I don't ask any religious questions, but your Last Supper. Who are your 12 disciples?
Oh God. Oh man.
To make this quicker and less painful, you both get 6. They could be cartoons. They can be musicians. They could be an actor. Just leave family out of it.
All right.
So,
I'll
and
tell you what.
you have to have one female though.
Okay. I might steal this from
Haley Williams.
No. Okay, cool. So you've
Paramore.
got one. I'll do Courtney LaPlante from
Same.
Spirit
Yeah.
Box.
Yeah. I was
Um,
either gonna go with that or Haley, so that worked.
But
I
then,
swear, I swear you were gonna say Courtney Love, and I would end this right now.
oh god,
All
no.
I heard
So
was
then,
Courtney, and I'm like, he's not gonna say that.
actually, can I take mine back and it be Jennifer Aniston? Yeah,
That's
Jennifer
fine.
Aniston. Yep.
Okay, that's just
I
for
mean,
him.
like, which Jennifer Aniston?
Does it
The
matter?
actress?
Yeah.
I
Sorry.
mean,
Yeah, the
like,
actress. My bad. I thought you were like 20 years old, Jennifer Aniston, or 50 years, because there's really not a difference. I mean,
have you seen
I
her
mean,
recently? Okay.
technically, okay, let's put it this way. Do you want to do Friends version of Jennifer Aniston or Horrible Bosses version of Jennifer Aniston? Let's put it that way.
I mean, we can
If
do
you
Friends.
don't know the references,
Okay.
okay. So that's it. If you don't know the reference to that movie, watch the movie on your own time. That's all I'm gonna
All
say.
right. Okay, I'll
Okay.
definitely check it out. But then I've got Gerard Butler, um, Keanu Reeves, probably
Okay.
Morgan Freeman.
You
And
get two
then
more.
I've got two more. You know, talking about role models earlier, probably Caleb Shomo. That would be awesome. I feel like he'd be, yeah, legit. Um, and if we're not doing family, which I consider the band family, then so that means I can't say Cecil or any of the other band members. My last one, dude, that's tough. Oh, but they could be dead or alive, right?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay. That makes it a little bit easier then. Probably do Mitch Lucker from Suicide Silence. Nope. Chester Bennington.
Ooh.
That was a
Okay.
hard decision. No, I'll go with Mitch. Yeah.
Okay, so I got what, 5 now? I'm going with the Rev, Ben Sevenfold.
Ah, dang it.
Mark Kubu. Think about this. Diego, for sure. I think it would make good at. It would be good at dinner. Dave Chappelle.
Oh,
Okay.
dang. Okay.
How many is that left? 3 I have left.
Mm-hmm.
I'd throw in Misha. Tony Dungy. I'm a Colts fan, so he's an
Okay.
old coach. I need like a wild card.
Chester's still on the table.
Dimebag Darrell.
Ah, dang it.
Okay.
Yeah, he died on my birthday, so we're kind of connected, you know.
See, so I feel like
So-
half of yours is like you could. It sounds like you could do like 6 people that aren't with us anymore and 6 that are still here with us. Because like
Yeah,
half, it's like literally
probably.
half and half. Because you literally did 3 and 3, 3 that are alive, 3
Yeah.
that are not. So that's
Yeah.
crazy. I would love to do one day. I want to do mine. I have 12 right off the bat right now. It'd be so easy to do my 12. But
Also,
we'll have to
I
do that
apologize
another
in
day.
advance. My phone may die.
All right. So, Rob, ask your one last question, and we'll wrap this up.
Okay, so it's kind of a 1A, 1B, but I'll make it quick. For either of you, you can choose either A, would you want to assemble you being the same musician as you are, right, guitarist or whatever the case may be, unless you want to change your instrument, and form 4 dream members with you to make a band, or would you rather join a band that's already existing? Like you could be like the bass player for Korn, or what would you rather do?
Oh,
I think I'd rather join. I think I'd rather
Okay,
join.
what about you? What about you, John?
I would probably join. Yeah.
Then what would that band be, or artist, or project? That would be the 1A, and that's 1B now.
I'd be the second guitar player that actually stays in the faceless.
Ooh.
That'd be me.
Okay.
Me and Michael Keane all day.
Join. You know, this is gonna sound crazy, but probably Attila. I'd probably do vocals or play guitar for them.
Oh, that's sick.
Or I could be the permanent guitar player in Volumes too. I think that would fit. I know a good amount of their stuff. So
Mm.
And this is my last question of the evening. Do you have any messages you want to say to your fans?
Well, definitely keep looking out for all the new stuff because it is definitely coming. We'll probably have something out 30 to 60 days from next month. A lot of content. We've got shows lined up. Definitely come out and see us whenever we have shows. Hang, meet us, ask us questions, connect with us on social media if you want. We're always up. So, yeah.
Where can we find you? Or where can everybody find you?
Oh, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube Music. Did I miss one?
Is it like just Sleeptalker, or is there like any abbreviation to find you?
It is literally just Sleeptalker. Yes, Sleeptalker. And then if you're having trouble, just put Sleeptalker Band, and that normally fixes whatever issues on whatever platform you're searching.
All caps also helps.
Yeah, all caps does also help.
Yeah, so it's easier to find it that way.
Yeah. And then one last thing I'll say is always be true to yourself and your art, no matter what anybody else has to say about it. And just keep pushing. Like some days are going to be harder than others. Sometimes you're going to get stuck on ideas or just with life in general. Take a deep breath, figure out what you can control, forget about the stuff you can't, and execute your plan.
All right, with that said, I want to thank you for your time. This is going to be on Concert Junkies Rob and John Facebook, Concert Junkies Rob and John YouTube, and just Concert Rob on Twitch.
Awesome.
And I will
Thank
see
you.
you guys in the next one.
We appreciate
Do
you.
not forget to subscribe and like and share.
Absolutely.